Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever, well, not first ever, but the first more official version of BK, or Blåkulla Kumite. This is going to replace the older videos I have explaining how the game works, and from here I will pretty much just explain the mechanics. Hopefully I can get this all done in one video. I think I have enough cards to figure that out, but I am starting here with Toni, the Underworld Slugger. Each of the characters are going to get their own individual showcase, but for now I want to hone in just on gameplay, and he's one of the first characters I have all the art for, and I've played tested him quite a bit, so I feel comfortable showing him off. So here we have Toni, the Underworld Slugger. This is done by Tajdin_art on Instagram. You can find him there, and all of his incredible work. I also had him do the artwork on these abilities, this ball, this bat. Anywhere you see this little signature, that's him. So thank you, Eamon, for that. I will be playing against another character. I'm not going to do a full game here, as this is just a rundown of how the game functions. So here we go. Toni, every player gets a contestant. There's going to be 13 contestants in the base game, and I'm pretty much just going to add them whenever I want to. I love fighting games, so part of this card game, it reflects that. Little MOBAs and stuff, anything character based, I'm a big fan of, so there are a lot of inspirations going into this. So everybody gets a contestant. Each contestant has a passive ability, as you can see, and they have their stats down here. They're all clearly labeled. These values can range from 0 to 6, and of course they can grow beyond 6, but that would be more due to other abilities. So each character has, or contestant in this case, has a base ability or passive ability, and then they have 3 regular abilities. 2 abilities and an ultimate ability if you want, but at this stage in the game I just have them all as abilities until I figure out what I want to do with them. So let's see here how to do this. Well, we'll just start with the main aspects of the game. I have some dice here. These will be my HP dice to correspond here. If you're playing this in person, of course, you can use an app on your phone or any, like a calculator, just a piece of paper if you want to keep track of your health, because when your health hits 0, you lose. And this one is going to be related to this right here. This is going to be called an armor dice. Okay, so we are going to look at the board. Normal games of this, it's best 2 out of 3, and you pretty much will just 1v1 someone in a match, but you can play up to 4 people, 4 contestants at a table, and you can use whatever tactics you want to try to come out on top. You can team up, you can do whatever. But in this stage of the game, this is just the PvP section, as it's what I've play tested the most of, but there's plans for PvE or PvE later on, as well as more deck building focused version. So you have your contestant. We've picked Toni here, and you get a normal deck of playing cards. You leave the jokers in, so you have 54 cards. At the beginning of every match, you will draw 5 cards. So let's get these down here, and then see how we did. Okay, not a great hand, but that's all right. So the playing cards are instrumental in how the game works. I haven't quite settled on this as the overall size for the cards yet, but this is the setup. You'll have your contestant on your left and your deck of playing cards on your right. So let's go over here. The whole game, I describe this more as a PCG than a TCG, as there's not too much trading going on. It's more about the gameplay. So a playing card game is what we're going with. Each of your abilities has a little cost right here, obviously. The suits will look a little different. I might have a custom deck done if I end up doing a more game, like online game version of this, but for present, you can use any deck of playing cards, as that is kind of my jam. I got really into playing cards a while ago, so I bought way too many different packs. But yeah, so to activate this ability, I would have to discard a club. Luckily, I have 2, which is very, very good. So while the values themselves aren't that high, as you can see, I need a 10 of either suit here, and I need an ace of either suit here. This hand doesn't look that good until you realize who you're playing. So Toni operates off of equipping equipment, pretty much. They're called heirlooms. So he's got 3 of them. These are, let me see, right here. So he's got Masamune here, also done by Tajden. He's got Magic, also done by, both of these are done by Chibitos, who also did the UI. So each of his bats gives him different additions to his attack stat, as you can see down here. And each of them has its own ability, right? So he's very robust in what he can overcome because he has so many options. You know, if someone's really hunkering down with armor, you've got soul here, or I forgot to change the art on here. Check it out. I am not trying to be super professional, but rather informative. These are dev vlogs, so I'm not really selling this to anyone. I'm making the game anyway, so you're gonna see little hiccups and stuff like this, but let me see. And it's as easy. It's 1, 2, 3. I renamed the Bat Soul to get in more to the lore, but like I said, there will be contestant showcases, which I'll cover lore and stuff in. I'm primarily a writer. Game design is just something I like doing on the side, so I am really excited to get to those. But each of them do different things. This one can hit everyone in play if you're playing multiplayer, or if your table has these guys. These are familiars. Familiars controlled by either the an opponent, or just like the PB or PvE version of the game, are considered enemies. And this will say foe, or maybe I'll just keep it the same. There's a lot of trial and error that's going to go into this, but so far, familiars get really messed up by this. So, I'm not going to explain too much more about how Toni specifically works, but I am going to start getting into how the overall game works. Let me see. And this is going to be a bit more of a rambling video as I kind of get my feet under me and get used to playing this game, especially in tabletops in here. Not the most proficient at it, but I'm getting better. So, the way things works, you want, it's a fighting game, pretty much. You want to reduce that health bar here to 0. So, how do you do that? Let me see. Let me pull out. I'm actually going to, this has been super helpful here. I have made a lot of cards to help me explain stuff like this, so let's see. I'm gonna need actions here. Get that one there. We're going to get, let me see here. If you heard that, it's my AC. Don't be too scared. It's a little toasty today, so you might hear stuff like that in the background. Okay, let me see, and then the last thing we need, we can go over here. Turn over. Yep. Okay, so we're covering actions first. We'll just run down the list pretty much. You can pause and read it for yourself if you'd like, but I will go ahead and read it if you're just listening and have this on in the background. You can activate your abilities. As discussed before, every contestant has 3 abilities. Those abilities allow any number of things, but they all need to be activated with an associated cost down here, as you can see. So, anyone can do this on their turn specifically. A player may activate an ability on their turn by playing a single card face up that meets or beats the cost of the ability. It is implied, and we'll get to that when it comes to the cost guide, but higher cards, like it doesn't have to be an exact card unless we get over here. But again, let's try and get through this one first. So, you can declare an attack, declare a block, and declare a brace, right? And I'm just going to run through that. So any player may attack on their turn by discarding a card face down on the table. Once this is done, your contestant will attack the target of your choice. This is in combat, but this is you declaring it. The damage you deal is equal to your contestant's attack score. This is represented by the broom, as you can see, even on this card. It's a nice little broom there, done by Chibitos as well. But, yeah. And that correlates, of course, with your contestant over here. So, let us see. Declaring a block works very similar. A player may block during any turn that attacks are declared against them by discarding 1 card face down on the attack they wish to block. So, unlike attacks which have to be, unless otherwise stated, declared on your turn, so we're going to go ahead and demonstrate this here. I'm going to flip these in my hand because you don't want your players to know, because it's a little bit of a guessing game, right? Or your opponents. So, I'm declaring 2 attacks, right? I would declare those face down on my turn. Simple enough. If someone wanted to declare a block, even though it is my turn, they could, and I'm just going to leave these revealed so I don't get confused. They could declare 2 blocks. These would also be face down, like so. And when you go to combat, everybody flips their cards over. So, it's a read 'em and weep style of combat. So, if their value, this is a 5, is higher than mine, my attack is blocked here, and they take no damage. If my value is higher, like here, my attack goes straight through. It is not blocked at all. So, blocked attacks are completely negated, and we will get into armor next. So you do the exact same thing. There's a lot of discarding cards. Now you can do these face down or face up for braces. I don't really have that included, but just do it face down if you want. Bracing is where this little cauldron here comes into play. So any player or a player may brace during their turn. Again, this is pretty turn specific, but if a player chooses to brace, they gain armor equal to their contestant's defense score, represented by the cauldron here. You gain this armor for each card you use to brace, and armor absorbs damage on a 1-to-1 basis and is not lost until it is removed by damage. So, Toni over here has 2 defense. So we're going to take these. We're going to pretend like I'm using these to brace instead of attack, right? These cannot be negated. It's a good way to play very defensively, right? If I'm fighting, we'll say we've got Singer over here. Singer has 3 attack, so maybe not the best example for that, but if I'm just trying to buy myself time to get some good cards, activate some good abilities, I may brace. So, let's see here. We're going to flip them, not that it really matters for a brace, but just so we're clear on what we're doing. Each of these will gain you defense, or armor, equal to your defense score. And like I said, that is what this die is for. So I'm going to put that to 4, because each of these cards I declare as a brace is going to give me my armor score. So 2, 4, and there it is. So any damage I take has to go through that first, and this will just stay there, and it stacks. It could stack quite highly if I really wanted to turtle in, but I'm a rather aggressive player, so I don't know if I would personally be doing that too much. That is a very, very scrambled version. Again, I tried to pause so you can just read these, and once I figure out how to work everything on here, it'll be like a little time codes and stuff like that, either in the comments or in the description of the video. So let's go to the cost guide, because as you can see, we've got a bunch of cute little symbols here, done by Chibitos as well. This skull, you don't have a single card in your deck that has a skull on it. It is an ace, and this has to do with just lore, like real life lore of cards. So the Ace of Spades is used to kind of like represent death. It's been used in military and stuff, so we kind of came to the conclusion to represent that with a skull. Everything else, it should be relatively straightforward. When I first got sent these, I guessed them in the correct order without knowing what they were supposed to represent. But just running down here, in this game, to avoid the association with face cards, like just the slang term of like, you know, having a face card, being a pretty guy, these are called court cards, right? Just to keep that royal nobility kind of theme here. So any court card is denoted by the tower here. And that means, say I have one of those here. I don't. Say I have it in place of a 10 here. That means any court card of a heart or a spade can be used, right? So let me see if I can just draw into one. It's probably a more elegant way to do this, not having particular luck. An ace counts as a court card here. So we've got an ace. An ace could be used as a court card, as it is traditionally a face card, so I wanted to keep those all sorted together. Here we have the symbol for a jack. Like I said, unless it is in this ring here, which denotes a certain value must be used, you can play this card or anything higher than it, as long as it's of the appropriate suit, right? And if there is only one suit, that is the only suit you can use. If there are 4 suits, that means you can use literally any card as long as it meets your value here, right? So it's not really gonna read through these too much, just because it's like, hey, you just screenshot it. I'll send you the PNG if you want, but like it's a 1-to-1 here. This one's pretty interesting. It's not just going to be 2, so it could be like 2 or 3 hearts. It could be like 4. It goes up maybe to 5 because it's your average hand size, but like it would be like, okay, you need to save up this specific suit and 5 of that specific suit to activate an ability. So that would be a particularly strong ability, just because it puts you back on what you can do in a turn. This one I do want to go over. So this is a lone suit. Any of the suits can be used as lone suits. So if this discard wasn't here, it was just the club, I could play literally anything with a club on it to activate the ability, right? And that's that's about as deep as that gameplay goes. So let's go to the turn order really quick. Very simple. I think there's only 5 stages here. We've got beginning of turn. Check for beginning of turn triggers. All right. First play, you can activate any abilities, declare all of your attacks, braces, and blocks. That is more for your opponent if it is your turn for them to declare blocks, as most people can't declare any blocks on their turn. Again, I'm going to play around with the mechanics a lot, so like some of the contestants I'm sure may be able to declare blocks on their turn, but I don't really know how that's going to work because I don't have someone that does that yet. Unless otherwise stated, all attacks and blocks must be declared during the first play. If you play during the second play, it's going to be too late. There's only 1 combat per turn. So each match, we'll say, the best 2 out of 3 is split into turns and rounds, right? So turns, it's my turn, it's my opponent's turn, it's my turn, yada yada, so on and so forth. If I win that match, I have won that round, right? So if you see any mention of a round, that is exactly what that means. Okay. So we go from first play, unless otherwise stated. Each ability may only be activated once during its owner's turn. So that is how you can avoid See foul ball here. Deal 5 damage. That is how you avoid people spamming this and just killing someone in one turn. Okay, like, I playtested around a lot with it, and that means I can make abilities that can be activated any number of times, but they're probably weaker or do something specific, right? But that's the way I stop people from turn wanting each other. This should be a pretty quick game, but it's not. I don't want it to be one match. You know, that's not very fun. So we're gonna go to combat. You gain any armor. It is the first thing you do in combat. That's why it does not matter if these are discarded down or up, because this is the first thing that is done. At this stage, it is not interruptible, but there may be a contestant in the future that is able to interrupt braces. Who knows? I can pretty much do whatever I want at this point. Like I said, I am beholden to no one except the wonderful artists that I'm working with, you know. But, like, as far as the gameplay is concerned, I can really be as loosey-goosey as I want until I have it figured out. But, yeah, we're just going to go down the list here. So you flip all of the declared attacks and blocks. Contestant attacks and blocks resolve, and then all familiars or enemies. If we'll scroll, I think he's over here. Familiars. So you can attack with familiars without discarding cards. It's gonna be jumbled. It's gonna be jumbled. But I guess this is a dev vlog, right? So I can be a little kooky. I'll try to stay on task though. So any beings in play with 0 HP are considered killed and are removed from the game. As we discussed earlier, when you flip all of the attacks and blocks, that is where you check the values against each other to see which attacks go through and which ones are blocked, right? If you gain armor, like we have this, let me see, 4 armor over here. If one of my attacks got through and I didn't have a bat, that's just going to reduce this down to 3, because I only have 1 attack, right? If I use, let's say Masamune here, that would bump me up to 3 attack. Okay, 1 attack will get me to 1 armor. I still haven't done anything to the HP yet. But, hey, what you gonna do? So let's see. Here we are. So after combat, there's second play. You can activate abilities or declare braces. These braces will go off at the beginning of the next combat, but they kind of will just sit on the board. You can use this to kind of lull someone into a false sense of security, I guess, because it's just like, oh, well, I'm not going to have these cards, you know, but they might declare less attacks if they think you're just going to gain armor at the beginning of the next combat. Still playing around with that, but we'll see. And then we go to the end of the turn. You check for any end of turn triggers, and then each player draws cards. That is everyone in play. And this is a very important part. So you do not draw any cards at the beginning, you draw at the end, but everyone does it every turn to keep the game moving quick. If no cards were played, you draw 2. If you draw or play a single card, you only get 1 card at the end of the turn. So I'm going to describe what that means really quick. When I put a card here, flip face down, I'm discarding it. So this is an attack, a block, even this right here where it says discard a club. If I were to put that in my discard pile, that is not a played card, right? The only time cards are played, unless otherwise stated, is when we'll say, God, I can't even meet this cost. You have one up here? Oh, it's upside down. I'm going to throw up. Okay. Let's use this ace here. So, if I play this to activate this, this is a card that has been played, right? So, that is the only time. If I play a card, even if it's during someone's turn, if the ability allows, this one does not, but if it does, I would still draw less. So, here's the importance of all of that gibberish I've just said. If I discard my whole hand in attacks, the whole thing, like I said, I'm a pretty aggressive guy, so I don't know, I'm not really sure what the turn would look like, but I declare 5 attacks. At the end of that turn, as long as I didn't activate any abilities by playing cards like that, I would still draw 2 cards, regardless, right? And that doesn't matter if it is another person's turn, or anything like that. You draw at the end of every single turn, not at the end of every round or anything like that. Oops. Oh man, I've lost it. But yeah, no. It's been a little bit of a ramble, but I thank you for tuning into this. Hopefully I will get more concise in the future. I didn't really know about doing scripts for this because I want this to be as natural as possible, at least this stage of development. But the lore videos will probably be a lot more scripted and a lot more professional. But yeah, if I'm just explaining the game, I want to keep it, I don't know, as straightforward as I can. As I can, at least. Obviously, we have a whole other character over here, but the standard health in a game for everyone is 30. There is one character in the game that does not have 30 HP, and when I introduce that contestant, I will go ahead and, you know, point that out. But yeah, post any questions you have or any things that you're not clear on in the comments, and I will get back to you. Depending how many or how few there are, I will message each and every one. It shouldn't be too many at this stage in development, but if I get a whole bunch, I may just post like general updates and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the first video in BK's dev vlog here. I hope you were able to find some enjoyment in watching this, and I look forward to teaching you more about how this game works. Yeah, have a good day, and stay safe, and remember to take some time for yourself. See you later.